Chris, can you put that map right up, the one you just had there? So we see Kursk, and we see the symbol for the Kursk, or as McGovern says, correcting me, Kursk nuclear power plant.
Yeah.
Where is Zaporizhia on this map, Larry? What is it near?
Yeah, you see where that you see down there where it says Ukraine?
Yes.
Just sort of under the U. It'd be down around that area.
Okay.
A little bit to the west of it, or to the left as you're looking at the map.
Okay. Has Kursk now been surrounded by Russian troops so as to contain the Ukrainian troops there that they've not yet killed?
Yeah, well, the Ukrainians haven't made it that far north, so they're still about 25 to 30 kilometers to the south. They've occupied some different villages. I want to emphasize occupied, and are digging in, because the Russians they're hitting them very, very hard. I mean, they're getting bombed, they're getting strafed. The columns of vehicles that Ukrainians were operating from have been blown up. You can see in some of the initial videos, they did move quickly, and they bypassed some of the defensive positions that the Russians had. And their goal was to get as fast as possible up towards Kursk, and to at least put it under fire control. That means that you can hit it with an artillery piece or with mortar, whatever they're firing. They failed to do that. And it is true that the Russians were caught off guard, but some people that have drawn on the West have drawn parallels with this as like the Battle of the Bulge. And yeah, there was a similarity in that in the Battle of the Bulge, Germans dressed up in American uniforms and took over certain key outposts, and the Ukrainians apparently did the same thing. They dressed up in Russian uniforms and took over some of the border control posts. But that's about where the similarities end, because the Russians responded very, very quickly. It took the United States during the Battle of the Bulge a week to try to be able to really get its act together. The Russians were moving within 24 hours, and I think there's really sort of an interesting, let's call it a silver lining to this, that Russia's now going to be able to move large concentrations of its forces up into that region that would have been, that I think they were planning to do for launching a move on Kiev, or into Sumi. And this now gives them cover for action, because they can say, hey, we're deploying all these troops because we got all these crazy Ukrainians running around. And so that it's actually works out from both a tactical and strategic level of a benefit for the Russians. But as far as this, creating any kind of pressure on Russia to negotiate with Ukraine, it's doing just the opposite. Russia is not going to negotiate. Russia's not in a weak position. Russia's not losing. Russia's not faced internal political turmoil. And the West is just, man, they're whistling past the graveyard.
Here's President Putin on Friday evening commenting on these events. Cut number 4.
As you know, the Kyiv regime has undertaken another large-scale provocation and launched indiscriminate shelling of civilian buildings, residential houses, ambulances with different types of weapons, including missiles.
Western media claims that the Kremlin is in panic.
Yeah.
Another PR stunt, probably fomented by Western intel.
Yeah, the same Western media that claimed Joe Biden's in charge. Okay, so they just make it up to fit whatever the narrative is that they want. I mean, it's shocking the level of self-deception and lies that fill Western media. To try to actually get an honest assessment of what's going on. it'd be one thing. I saw one comment on one of the blogs that I post at yesterday saying that I was in denial because the Ukrainians had deployed 10 divisions. And, and the person writing this is a moron. A division that, anywhere between, 10 to 25,000 troops. So if Ukraine deployed, you're telling me they deployed 100 to 250,000 troops to Kursk? Now, if they did that, yeah, that would be significant. Okay. That would be an eye catcher. But that didn't happen. They're having the reports from other fronts, even from Western media in some cases, are conceding that a normal sized brigade is supposed to be 2,000 guys. Ukraine's having trouble filling up a battalion, which is around 500. And in some cases, they're saying they were down to like 20 troops, which is like a platoon. So, the manpower shortage Ukraine is facing is real. And it is compounded by the fact that they don't have the bounty of weapons and machines and vehicles that they had a year ago. So without that, there's no way to sustain any kind of operation. This is